Welcome to Crime 411. A very disturbing case that I came across in the news today. A mother was arrested in Augusta, Georgia yesterday after her 11-year-old son set himself on fire. Now, according to officials, deputies found the 11-year-old boy and his 3-year-old little sister in their apartment. The boy said that he had rubbing alcohol and lit it on fire, trying to participate in one of these internet challenges, and he suffered first and second degree burns to his face and to his chest. Non-life threatening, thank God, and his 3-year-old sister was not hurt. When the Augusta Fire Department arrived on the scene, the boy told them that his mother was at work, and she has since been arrested and charged with child cruelty. A couple of things that I want to talk about here. For one, obviously, you don't leave your 11-year-old and your 3-year-old home alone unattended, right? And I'm not saying that that is ever okay. So please don't misunderstand where I'm going with this. But there is also a difference between a mother who is, going out to the bar and leaving her kids home alone, and a mother who may be a single mother that doesn't have family in the area. Maybe she can't afford childcare. Maybe if she didn't go to work that day, she was in jeopardy of losing her job, in which case losing her home, and now her kids and her are on the street. So while it's very easy to judge someone in this situation, I'm looking at this, even though I disagree with leaving your 11 and 3-year-old home alone, I am trying to look at this through the eyes of someone with compassion and empathy, because there are a lot of people in this country who are facing these situations every day where they are single parents and they really may not have the support or the network to help them. And, I'm a single parent myself, so I can understand that. And while I would never leave my son home alone, we all make the best decisions that we think we're making at the time. And I'm sure that when she made this decision, she wasn't thinking that her son was going to light himself on fire. So, one of the things that I want to touch on is the fact that we really do have a problem in this country when it comes to being a parent, being able to provide for your children, especially if you're a single parent. And we need to find some sort of a balance with that. Childcare expenses are insane. They are through the roof. When my son was in childcare, it was about $1,000 a month. And I had no choice. I had to go to work. I was a divorced mother of a 2-year-old boy. So I didn't have a choice. I had to go to work. And luckily for me, I was able to put him into a daycare with a lady that I I loved and trusted like I would trust my own father or my own mother with my son. And I drove 5 hours a day round trip just to go to that daycare, which was an hour and a half in the other direction, because I knew that my son would be safe with this woman. She also was very affordable, which made it wonderful. And I mean, not everybody's in that situation, right? Not everybody has a car to drive an hour and a half out of their way each way every day to bring their child to a daycare center. And in a situation like this, the kid that she left alone was 11 years old with his 3-year-old little sister. So I would imagine that this was either after he got home from school, or maybe he was homesick. The article didn't say, and it didn't say how long they had been at home alone. But just going off of, my assumptions and just stories that you hear every day, right, about people that are in this situation where they're barely making ends meet. And if they had to pay for childcare outside of that, it would literally put them in the street. Especially she has 2 kids. So now that's double the expense for childcare. I was paying almost $1,000 a month and I only have 1 kid. And that was really hard for me. So I have to say that I have to look at this from a place of empathy for her, because what do you do in that situation? What do? You have to go to work. You have to keep a roof over your children's head. You have to keep food on the table, right? And if you don't do that, most people in this country are living check to check and, one paycheck, and they're in the street. So that's another thing. Maybe she had a very understanding job that would have said, you know what, stay home, we understand. But maybe missing that day from work would have cost her to not be able to pay her rent, and she would have been in the street. So again, there's a very huge imbalance in this country when it comes to working parents being able to afford childcare. And the other thing too is you can't just leave your kids with anybody. It's very easy to say, well, get some kid in the neighborhood for $5 an hour to come over and take care of your kid. But you know what? Kids are getting raped, molested, murdered, kidnapped every day in this country. And you can't just leave your kid with anyone. You can't. And I know what people are going to say, but it's better than leaving them alone. But is it? Is it better to leave your 11-year-old child home alone than it is to have somebody come and rape him while you're at work? So it's very easy to say what you would do when you're looking in a situation from the outside looking in, but it's very different when you're the person that's in those shoes. So again, I feel for her. I don't know what her situation is. I don't know what her financial situation is. I don't know if this lady has family that is available to help with her kids. Who knows? Maybe her family member that, was able to help, maybe they're home with the coronavirus, God forbid. But what I'm saying is you don't know someone's circumstances. You don't know their life. And it's very easy to judge someone when you're not in their shoes, but put yourself in those shoes and it's a very different situation. So again, like I said, I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying leave your 11 and 3-year-old home by themselves. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that I understand that sometimes things are a lot more difficult than they appear. And it's not like she was out at the bar; she was at work. So, I'm trying to look at it from all angles, but. It's a big problem. We really need to do something in this country to make childcare, safe childcare, more affordable for people who have to work. I know so many people that work just to pay for childcare. And the only reason that they're working is because maybe they don't get health insurance through their spouse. So they go to work for 40 hours a week. They're away from their kids just for the health insurance because their check is paying for childcare for them to be at work. It's out of control. And it's a domino effect. You have both parents that are out of the home, right? We have completely lost the family dynamic at home because people are so, they're unable to make ends meet just one person working out of the home. And so now kids are growing up with strangers raising them where they're raising themselves. And, it's unfair. It's very unfair to the children. And it's equally as unfair to the parents. I don't know any parent, any friend of mine that goes to work to pay for childcare who does that because they want to. They do it because they have to. In Tennessee, where I am, we have a program called Smart Steps. And basically that program helps to cover childcare expenses for parents who work full-time or are full-time students. Now, I don't know how many other states have that, but I can tell you that when I got my divorce and I was suddenly a single mother of a 2-year-old child, that program saved my butt. So we need to make these things available to people. We need to make these resources available to people in every state. And we need to make it so that our children are able to be taken care of with trustworthy caretakers while parents are at work. It's a necessity. And this right here proves that. Case in point, if I'm sure if this lady had the resources to be able to go to work while someone was able to care for her children, she would have done that, or at least I would hope so, right? I mean, I like to assume the best in people. I don't like to assume the worst in people. And again, it's not like she was out doing drugs and drinking. She was at work. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. I might get my head bashed in for my opinion on this, but hey, that's how I feel and I'm honest. You have the right to agree or disagree. That's fine. All I ask is that if you do post comments, you post them respectfully. Let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about this situation? And please subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also check out our website, crime411.org. We are on Facebook. We have a public page, and we also have a private group that's for discussions. We don't allow anybody bashing each other in the group. It's a very good group of people. table for open discussion with people that have similar opinions or different opinions, but it's always kept respectful. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram. But again, please do comment on this. I'm curious to know, what you think. And I'm guessing I'm probably going to get a lot of single parents commenting that they can also relate because they've been put in this situation before and they didn't know what to do. But curious to see what you all have to say about that. I appreciate you taking time to tune into Crime 411. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing without you all, so thank you so much. And I look